Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a comparison review between the original Everlast Powerlocks and the Powerlock 2.0's. So check it out. All right guys, so I got a good one for you today. I've been getting a lot of requests for this. I'm going to be doing a close-up as well as a comparison review between the original Everlast Powerlocks and the Powerlock 2.0's. I have them both in 16-ounce lace-up, so they're identical in size and closure. Obviously the Powerlock 2's are the successor, and there's definitely some big improvements with the Powerlock 2's over the originals. The first thing you'll notice with the gloves is, for those of you that are wondering, are they the same size in terms of their profile? Pretty much. So you can see that the width of the glove and the overall shape is pretty much the same. Same thing with the height from the bottom of the cuff of the glove to the top is pretty identical. Obviously the shape's a little different in the knuckle area, which we'll kind of talk about in a second. But for the most part, for those of you that are wondering, does it keep the same shape and size? It pretty much does. You can see the logo on the originals, the same as the 2.0, just a different color. You'll notice that the wrist support on the 2.0 is a little bit higher up and definitely much thicker. And that the hand compartment, you can see also the logo is a little bit higher up on the 2.0's. The thumb looks pretty much identical in terms of the thickness, the shape of the thumb. Both attached thumbs look pretty much the same. These gloves are manufactured in India, so I wouldn't be surprised if whoever manufactures the new one is the same person that does the original. The originals use the standard lace-up closure that you see in the vast majority, if not all, boxing gloves. You have the piping that meets right here in the middle with the laces that go across. You have that 16-ounce tag. You also have the polyester nylon liner, pretty standard. And then you can see the 2.0's have really stepped up in terms of wrist support. So instead of having the two pieces meet in the middle, this one actually has an overlapping piece, really similar to what you would see like in Onyx X Factors, the rival wrist lock technology, to where basically the concept is you have this little leather flap right here, and when you tighten the laces, this flap pulls the thumb in so you can make a tighter fist and just a much more protective feel for your hand. So that's the concept behind this flap. And then you have this other piece of leather underneath here that I'm rubbing on that goes underneath, so it tucks underneath this piece of leather. So definitely love that. It is definitely a huge upgrade to kind of this floppy Powerlock wrist support. I mean, this one has maybe like 1/8 of an inch of padding. You have about an inch on the back, so that's relatively the same. The back wrist support is pretty much the same liner, polyester nylon. But the wrist thickness is about 1/4 of an inch on this one, and it's definitely more rigid feeling on the wrist. So if you're looking for more wrist support, the 2.0's definitely give you that by far. Another thing you'll notice is that the piping on the palm is larger than the originals, and I love that. And what that does is it allows you a little bit more flexibility in the center section of your hand. It doesn't feel so tight. Where with the original Powerlocks, it takes a little bit more of a breaking in period. With this right here, especially with your hand wraps on, it gives you a little bit more of a broken in feel, if that makes sense. You also have the ventilated holes right here on the outer palm area. Looking at the grip bars, the grip bar on the original, it's pretty medium, about medium in size and density. The new one definitely is much more dense than the original. If you push down on it with your finger, you can just feel it's much thicker and it's just harder. Where the original is definitely more of a softer feel. You can see I can push in with it. So definitely an improvement with the grip bar. The finger compartment is almost identical in terms of the depth of the finger compartment. I'm gonna put these on and I'll show you guys with the gloves on here in a second, but they're pretty close. The foam padding, I know this is the big one for a lot of you guys. The density of the foam padding on the original, I would say, is definitely on the medium to firm side, where the newer one is a little firmer. So you can tell that they increased the density of the foam padding on the 2.0s compared to the original. Not by much, but it's definitely noticeable when you use this on the heavy bag, as well as when you just feel it with your hand. You can tell that it's a little bit more dense. The quality of the leather to me is exactly the same. You can see them right next to each other, which again, it goes back to me saying it's probably made by the same manufacturer, because the leather to me is the same type of cut and the same sheen to it. So you can see it looks pretty much identical. So I would venture to say that the leather quality is the same on the originals as it is the 2.0s. And then again, the wrist support, you can see on the back about an inch of padding. You also have this little indentation and this little recessed channel here for the laces to go into, where this one you just have the cloth patch and it says Powerlock, and that's really it, just the block right here. And you can see just it's a lot more unbalanced when you hold it up. It's a much floppier glove, where when you hold up the 2.0s, you can see that. Look at that. I mean, it's nice and rigid. So you can see, just to me, that's the biggest feature and change with the 2.0s is the wrist support, the firmness of the foam padding, and a little bit more room on the palm area. Same liner, same quality of leather. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and put these gloves on to show you guys how they look on my hands, and just kind of describe to you guys the feel on what might feel similar and what feels different. So with both gloves on now, I can definitely feel there's some key differences on the inside of the glove. The first thing is going to be the liner. On the original, the liner tends to bunch up, and I had this issue on several pairs of the Powerlocks I have in the past, is in the fingertip compartment area, you can definitely feel a loose liner. So basically it feels like your fingers are kind of like swimming in liner, where in the Powerlock 2.0s, it feels like it's much flatter, and they did a better job of not putting too much of that liner material in there. And I don't feel like my fingers does any of that swimming around in there. The depth of the finger compartment pretty much feels identical in both gloves. So I feel that my fingers are both at the same depth in the originals as well as the 2.0s. So really no difference there. The thumb is a little bit better on the 2.0s. You can see that when I make a fist, the originals definitely compacts down more. It pulls down on that attached thumb, and I feel like my thumb is barely hitting the tip of the inside of the glove. So especially for those of you that have a longer thumb, you might have some issues with jamming. Where the 2.0s, you can see it brings it in just a little bit, but not too much compared to the originals. Wrist support is vastly superior on the 2.0s compared to the 1.0. Even when you kind of rotate your hand around and do one of those, you can definitely tell that there's an emphasis in the 2.0s in terms of just having more wrist stability compared to the original, where it just feels pretty floppy on the inside. The thumb piping right here feels identical to me as well. I don't feel like one is more tighter or looser than the other. The one big difference though I do feel is this palm section, and that cutout gives me a little bit more flexibility, especially when I wear my hand wraps, and if it kind of is a little bit more bulkier. This little hole being bigger than this one allows for a little bit more bulk without adding to the discomfort of the glove. Another big thing is you'll notice is that, again, you can't really tell with the naked eye, maybe you can, but I said that the foam on the 2.0s is more protective and a little bit more dense, and you can actually see it's slightly thicker as well compared to the original. So you're getting a little bit more of a protective glove compared to the original, and a little bit more broken in. Not by much, but you can see just this is much stiffer. Like that's as much as I can open my hand. Where with this one, I have a little bit more flexibility in being able to open my hand. Not by much, but a little bit more. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is gonna be the wrist support, how that feels. Finger compartment feels the same. Foam is definitely denser and more protective, and the thumb positioning is better, as well as having that open palm where the piping is at definitely adds to the comfort. So in my opinion, being both at the price point of $99, which is another great thing, is that Everlast didn't upcharge for the 2.0s. They're both $99. To me, really, there's no reason to get the original Powerlocks outside of maybe if you can get them on sale. Maybe you just like the way they look more. But outside of that, to me, the 2.0s are definitely a more superior glove in every way. More protective, better wrist support, more comfortable, better liner. It's just an overall better glove. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find both of these gloves. I'll see you guys later. Take care.